Hello guys, welcome back and we are on our lesson 1, module 1. Let us check out what is really the meaning of REST APIs before we dive in, and get our hands on deck on coding. So by definition, REST, I found this definition interesting, over the internet. That REST stands for representational state transfer. All right, representational state transfer, and it is a pattern used for communication between application through HTTP. The protocol is stateless, meaning no session is stored between applications. Each request is therefore processed as it is a new request, even though it is repeated. So basically, this definition says that REST, or let me say REST APIs, is simply, let us say, a protocol that has been defined, by a group of people who are interested in helping the programmers to build more robust application. So this protocol helps to define the standard or a way of passing data from one application to another application, all right? So usually when you go to the website, what you see there is the user interface. Let me say the data or what the person in the website wants to portray to you is defined in terms of graphic, text, and all those stuff. So you can easily relate. It's something that you understand. That is what we call basically the user interface. But what if you want to pass data from one application, maybe let us say a mobile application to a web application? That is where now REST comes in handy. So you pass data in a way that the other application will be able to understand, or will have a way to, to say, okay, this data is coming from somewhere. Do I have a means of consuming this data so that I can use it on myself? And basically, that means of consuming the data and passing data from one application to other application is defined by the REST APIs. Is basically a standard that helps to standardize the communication of application or the transfer of data from one application to another, so that application know how to send data and to consume data. So REST is the one behind the scene, is the one that define those standards, so that we do not have anyone just transferring data the way that you want and then another application finding it hard to consume the data. The other protocols for transferring data such as GraphQL, but I will check that, I believe, in another course. But for now, let us work with REST, which is the most common, standard for data transfer. For you to use REST, number one, you need two things. Now, one, so in order for you to access the data that has been sent via the REST standard or via the REST protocol, you need a URL to access that data. Number two, you also need what we call the REST methods. So you do not just access data any way that you want. There are a particular set of methods that are used to access and change data across the REST standard. So the common REST method are: number one, get. If you want to fetch data from the API, you use get. So data that has been sent via the REST protocol, you can use get to get that data on the other application. If you want to create a resource that will be transferred across the REST protocol, then you can use post. Post will be used to create a resource from the API. Then if you want to update a resource via the API, then you can use patch, or you can use put for that matter. And then lastly, if you want to delete a resource from the API, you can use delete. So basically, those are the major things you ought to understand about REST. And of course, the other advantages that comes with REST, you can be able to cache them nowadays using things like memcache, Redis, and anything that you want, and just to improve the efficiency, or let me say the proficiency of your data transfer across application. And with that, guys, I believe you've been able to understand REST, what it is, and how you can be able to access the resources on REST APIs.